Here we are, the TEKEX Podcast, the very first one. I just thought, why not? Everyone's doing it. Let's join the party. But genuinely, TEKEX feels like a great conduit in the business world, in the Crown dependencies to put one on. So if you don't know TEKEX, we are an innovation, investment and business community in the Crown dependencies, Jersey, Guernsey, Isle of Man. We're connecting capital, we're connecting people, we're connecting innovation in a safe, brave and impactful way. We've got 300 in a WhatsApp group. We've got a really decent, rich database of investors, business people, innovators, entrepreneurs, also lots of connections in the UK. We've raised about 10 million for different businesses, which has been great. So join us. If you want to join the community, tekex.co. This is going to be our first podcast. I look forward to it. TEKEX doesn't happen because of the amazing community that are involved in it. It also doesn't happen with some great support, Digital Jersey, PwC and C5, who all put a lot of effort and some capital into making this happen and continue. And I've got great news as well that we've just started a partnership with Rathbones as well, who are joining that support, always open to conversations in that space. Thank you to our sponsors. Right. The TEKEX Podcast, the inaugural, the first, and it just so happens that being a donkey from Guernsey, that's what we're called. I've also got another donkey here, but we're in Jersey, so we're hopefully bridging the xenophobic
Channel Islands
potential. So welcome Adrian Norman of Universem, a Channel Island innovator, founder. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity and numero uno. So yeah, congratulations on the launch.
Nice. So you're going to be on stage in like 3 or 4 hours. We're recording this before tonight's event. How are you feeling?
Probably good now. Looking forward to it. Probably be nervous later. But yeah, no, I think it's always nice to chat about what you're passionate about and what you love and the sort of products and platform we have. So yeah, no, it's exciting. But I think it's what you're doing is fantastic. I think bringing people together, collaboration and network, it's key, right? But it's key. And so yeah, so it's a great opportunity.
And do you pitch much? Do you get up in front of big audiences much?
Yeah, probably not as big as this one, by the way. So yeah, I've done a few in London, particularly. I think in December, there was a week where we did 2 or 3 in a week, sort of 50, 70. So it's good. But I also think no matter how many you do, you still get nervous, right? So, but then once you've done a couple of minutes, go into the swing of it. So yeah, I've learned a lot. It's been a learning curve. So not a fan of public speaking, but you sort of pick up the hints and the sort of bits you've got to do.
Yeah, I remember, founding TEKEX and then realizing that I had to start doing this public speaking thing. I was like, Jesus, man, this is comfort zone challenging. But, it's cool. I still get anxieties on the day like today, but they're just so much easier. And I think that just that muscle memory of repeating those is good. And
definitely.
On the note of pitch, you're going to have 10 minutes tonight. So it's going to be quite quick. But to start this off, Uniteverse, give us like a lightning pitch of what it is and why you're doing it.
Yeah, so Uniteverse to me is needed. It's sort of the new world, modern culture. It's basically a sort of 2-tier transformative platform. So the idea came to me a couple of years ago, well, 3 years ago now, actually, in April 22. I was at a music conference. They talked about making spaces safer and more accessible. And sort of my brain started working out that actually, when everyone has a phone in their hands, why couldn't they put into an app what they liked and didn't like? And not just another review site or feedback site, but something that actually did something for you. So actually sort of helped you discover more stuff that you liked and didn't like. But also, most importantly, gave us that feedback and data to use for businesses through a sort of back-end SaaS product to really support businesses. I feel that the review and feedback sites, you get a 1-star on Google TripAdvisor. It tells you nothing about the person that's left that review. So there's a lot of noise in there. But also, these review sites just end up, especially in British culture, a bit of a whinge or a complaint. Whereas actually, if you can get the review back
British.
to you, I would say mainly at the moment it feels like that. Well, maybe the US as well, the Western world, I guess. But actually, I think taking that feedback and giving it to businesses and giving them something that they can work with to understand the consumer is a win-win on both sides. It's actually doing something. And I think the exciting thing about Universem is it's not just what goes into our app, but it's what's in the World Wide Web. So what you're saying on Trustpilot, Google reviews, because there's so many of them, we kind of aggregate all of that and put that into the businesses. So yeah, it was passion really. I guess I was working in finance at the time. Obviously that was my career from Guernsey and moved to London. And this, my sort of, head, heart and gut told me it was too good an opportunity not to run with. It was sort of needed, sort of tech for good, but also we managed to turn into a business. So yeah, it's been a journey. I've learned an awful lot as well. Obviously, I just came up with the ideas, had no idea about tech, was a bit of a technophobe. But no, it's been good fun. I wouldn't change it. I'm glad I've done it. So.
We're going to reveal our ages. I'm 43, you are?
I'm 50 in December.
And we've got Louis from Guernsey TEKEX here, you're like 16 or something. No, he's 24. But the landscape of nightlife, I mean, you can walk around Jersey, Guernsey, it feels the same, London. But inside and amongst all of that, it's seismically shifting. I mean, like, even if you take like booze, consumption is changing, nightlife is changing. In some ways, I guess, going out, certainly the females can be intimidating. There's a lot of things, from what I understand, that Uniteverse is beginning to enable a more accessibility, safety, through data, a lot more targeted interest. Do you want to sort of elaborate on those bits?
Yeah, I think for me, it's really interesting. I think, look, like you said, I started going out at the age of 14 in 1989, much to my parents' despair, probably, in the mush pits and illegal raves. But again, you had a sense of community then. You didn't have phones, and sort of the dance floor or the mush pit was self-regulating. And it was very different, but I never forget that you made friends there, you made memories. And I think in the year 2025, everyone should have access to the same opportunities to do the same. I think, it's interesting you talk about non-alcoholic drinks. I think it's 21% of Gen Z don't drink now. But I don't think it's just a cost of living crisis we have. I think there's numerous things. 25% of the population they believe is neurodiverse. Daytime parties are now a thing. The sort of older crowd prefer going to daytime parties. You have anxiety after COVID. There's a lot of different things. And also the need for information in the palm of your hand, instant, that sort of WhatsApp era, the first time I went to Glastonbury, I didn't have a ticket and went under the fence. And now after COVID, when, sort of Gen Z want to go to festivals, they need to know where the toilets are, where the tents are, and sort of, before they even get on book the ticket really. So I think what we've tried to do is look at it and say, well, actually, there are a lot of things going on. I mean, 30 years ago when I was going to London, everything was in timeout in one place. Now it's overwhelming, especially in the last few years. It's Facebook, Resident Advisor, all these different platforms. So actually, there probably is an awful lot going on that you want to go to. You just don't know about it. So there might actually be some really safe and accessible places, or your community, your tribe, but it's finding that. So what we've tried to do is, sort of not get any personal information, but anonymize everything anyway, so it's safe, and building a profile of you when you sign up. I think that the bits that are really important is the sort of neurodiverse impairments and sort of how you identify. And then really making sure that everything's in one place, all those venues are in one place, so you can help with discovery. And then there's 2 rating systems, which again, it goes back to having sort of a demographic rating rather than just a star rating. So taking away the noise, someone like you you're going to enjoy it. But then also there's an anonymous box where, you should be able to be as anonymous as you want, as honest as you want in this day and age as well. So you can say whatever you'd like, the positives or the negatives. And I think that through the use of AI, which obviously when we first started building this, and again, this is where I became excited, is most apps are algos, right? If you go on a dating website, it's, do you like the gym? Do you like holidays? Well, everyone likes the gym and holidays, but what holidays do you like? What gym do you like? The cardio or the weights? So obviously through the use of AI and the keyword knowledge bank, you can then match that better and really get an understanding. I think also it goes back to this bit. I always use the analogy, when you go to 30 years ago, we went for dinner in a restaurant.
Going for dinner? It was more than 30. I can't afford dinner.
I can't either right now, to be honest.
I'm too tired, actually. I can afford it. I'm just too tired.
I probably can't afford it. But, you used to have like one vegetarian 30 years ago, and now there's glucose intolerance, soy, lactose, etc. Sorry, gluten. And so you should be able to, with the tech we have and the information we have and everything in the world, just go onto your phone, put in the selection you want and find what you want for everyone that you're with, and how they identify or whatever problems, so that you all have an enjoyable night. Because as soon as one person doesn't have an enjoyable night, it ruins for everyone. And obviously people work hard for their money now as well. So it's really trying to do that side of it on the app, and then get that data to really find trends, really understand, and really see what people want and help those businesses. I mean, look, you've got a lot of gatekeeping when you drill down into it. Ticket sellers, ticket platforms. You don't get much data on the ticket sellers, and you have to pay from the ticket purchasers, and you have to pay for it anyway. Ticketmaster, you're paying £1 for data, and it's not that good. There's not a lot of granularity, which you can obviously get through the Uniteverse. Again, Meta, some places are paying hundreds a month for Meta ads and not really understanding who their consumer is by not getting the granularity on it. So it's really trying to break some of that, disrupt some of that, and put the power back into businesses so they really understand. And sort of say, look, this is how you can improve. This is actionable insights, but also make their life easier. Look, some of these venues are paying themselves less than minimum wage and busy and working all the hours.
Well, look, I mean, Radu, whose studio we're in, is a passionista of the hospitality and podcasts around that. And, some of the topics that I know you've been bringing up have been around this. How do we enable? How do we empower? How do we shift the rapidly evolving market that is hospitality and entertainment. But from that, there's a couple of things I want to pick up on and pull a bit of a thread.
Yep.
One of the deepest privileges that I get from TEKEX is the founders and these intimate one-to-one moments. I feel so pleased that I get that opportunity. And there's something about founders that I believe is pretty unique. And look, the universe of neurodiversity is wonderfully uncovered. We can openly talk about it now, and whether it's whatever of the ADHD, autism, whatever, we can talk about it now, which is the greatest thing. And some people may argue that we're going too far down that route of exposure, but look, I believe we'll normalize it. But what I'm fascinated about most of the founders, those who are brave enough to take the entrepreneurial leap, almost all show aspects of neurodiversity. And from what I understand, you're neurodivergent, undiagnosed.
Yeah.
But also pulling that thread of, there are so many apps, there's so much big tech advertising distracting us. And some may argue that some of that is responsible for the tidal wave of neurodivergency. And so I'd like to talk about that from your perspective, but also how you personally are going to navigate Uniteverse to stand out from those sort of distractive whilst still being an intelligent data tool.
Yeah.
Is there a question in there?
Did I just ramble? There's a few ideas from there. It's like kitchen party, isn't it? Where you've getting the debates and the opinions.
Yeah.
I think so. Look, I'm undiagnosed neurodiverse, I would imagine, but I guess at my age, I've just always consider myself unique and a bit different. Probably don't. Most of my friends say probably don't meet another Adrian. I think I always just have seen problems and find solutions quite quickly, in a matter of minutes, and I've always been analytical. And I think it's just, sort of finding the common theme amongst it all, and always put yourself in other people's shoes as well. I think the best way to kind of go about any of it is actually to really break it down. So I'm sort of going, I know where I'm going with this one. With it, it's just making it easy, I think, and just spoon feeding people and really understanding them and what they like and don't like. But also the irony is that tech has made the world a lonelier place to some degree as well. And I think, you tell everyone that you've kind of almost made mental health a thing now, you can talk about it. But I think especially through the pandemic and when everyone came out of that, now there's not as much support when it comes to mental health and different things, or, getting diagnosed with neurodiversity, etc. The costs have gone up of therapy and different things in the UK. People are waiting long lists and this stuff. But if you can get people back out or finding their community or matching with people or feeling safe or going out on their own because they know where they're going to go, then actually you're starting to break down and not going to feel isolated, rather than at home. So I think it's trying to get people back out, find good stuff, but help promoters and businesses put on new nights as well. I mean, for example, I think sort of longer term, one of the exciting developments I think you could have is we obviously have the app for consumers and we have the SaaS for businesses. there's no reason why, you can't then say to businesses, which we know are always busy on a Friday and Saturday in hospitality, right? So on a Wednesday, we know you're quiet, but you can staff. So why don't you interact with the neurodiverse identified users in Jersey and ask them what they need from you to put on a night on Wednesday? Because you've lost them right now. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have friends to make. They don't have community. And then you can say, look, what are your requirements? Because obviously every autistic person has slightly different requirements. They come back and put everything in, feed it like a survey. And then it comes back in these actionable bullet points to go to the businesses. And they can put on that night, which they wouldn't know how to do it. They can't keep up. I got called neurospicy the other day by someone in London.
What did they define neurospicy as?
Well, this was it. It was a completely new word for me. So I had to go into the toilet and look neurospicy on Google
and
to see what it meant. I was kind of like, yeah, I probably am neurospicy.
Everybody, look it up. I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is.
No, so it's one of those ones. It's literally just neurodivergent or sort of think differently to the rest of the world. So, but apparently, then funny enough, I was in Birmingham just last week, and somebody said, yeah, you're definitely neurospicy. So, but I think it's just you come along with different energy, you come along with different ideas, and you just stand out to how other people. I think you put yourself out there sometimes as having different ideas or being vocal or having opinions, and instantly someone thinks that makes you neurodivergent to some degree as well. So. But I think it's where it's an interesting space. I think with hospitality, I think, you are putting up with people staying home more for streaming and all this stuff as well anyway. But I think times have changed, and it's just making sure people can say what they want. I mean, the amount of times I've been somewhere and if it was for one thing differently, I would have gone back. You're handing over money, you didn't have a good experience. But you would go back if that was changed. Well, why can't the world be a smaller place? Because it's too big and you just need to break down some of that what's going on at the moment.
There's something about what you're speaking there, that solidarity, that tribal solidarity, and Uniteverse enabling that. And again, it's pertinent having Louis in the room, who approached TEKEX and was like, you've got something good here, but how do we appropriate it for a younger audience? These rooms are intimidating for the younger audience, and you start asking why and COVID, and you can pull out every excuse in there, and tech and all of those things, I think, combine to begin that. And of course, that's not ubiquitous. There are many capable, socially adept, EQ, high EQ youngsters.
Yep.
But it's our job in some way to, I always often think like the reasonably poisonous universe of social media. It's like, well, I'm 43. As soon as Facebook came out, I got an account, man. I normalized it. I started the normalization. So there's now something interesting in like observing it and going, okay, it isn't all the fun and games it espouses to be. Like, how can we now look at the, enabling us to connect again and get in a room together? Like tonight, what I love about TEKEX, mostly we're all going to, hopefully 100 odd people in a room connecting properly. It's important we've got the always on room, the digital space, without question.
Yep.
But, if we don't combine that and we don't enable and facilitate these tribal human connections, then what's the point?
Yeah, because you lose empathy and you lose respect and you lose that kind of side of things, but also just memory making and that personal kind of interaction as well, I think, which is really important. And I've learned the most from meeting people. So obviously I was quite lucky when I moved to London to do all these networking, and I can quite safely say that if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am now in a lot of ways, because you just meeting people, you hear stories, you learn from them and all that kind of thing. And I think social media, look, it's great, it has a purpose, but I also think you need to roll back slightly from it in a way. It's a bit like a friend runs a big festival in Australia, they announce the headliner, then there's all these comments, that everyone's annoyed and it's awful, but they still go and buy tickets. So that's done everyone that organised it. It's not done them any good from a mental health sector, etc. So it's kind of superfluous. It's not necessary. But I also think it's getting people back in rooms, because you don't really get the energy and the vibe. It's a bit like Zoom calls. Like, they had their purpose. They do have their purpose. But being around people, being in that atmosphere is important for everyone, I think. It's, even just as simple as going to a concert, even if you don't like the band playing, but you're in that atmosphere, you're going to have a buzzing time. It's going to inspire you.
There's a study, I can't remember when it was done, where they put ECG monitors on a festival crowd.
Yep. Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah. And I think it was something like under 5 minutes and all the heartbeats synchronized.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me, right?
Yeah. And then, God, if the things that we assume are sort of subconscious, sort of uniting us, then pretty good. Let's pull on the thread of networking. I know that brings on, I think the youngsters call it the ick. For many, I think some.
I've learned something new there as well.
That's a word they use.
Right. Good to know. Look, I'm down with the kids now.
But yeah, look, tonight is networking, is connecting. I know that's been like really impactful for you. I think something that's like emerged is, I did a like poll recently in the TEKEX WhatsApp group, TEKEX WhatsApp group, and it was like, what's the most valuable thing that we can do and is important? And it was just networking. And you realize like, yeah, people might need finance, investment. People might need, I don't know, a service provider perhaps, but they just want to connect. And there's something about the loneliness of entrepreneurship sometimes. And you just need that room. So, and then I also, alongside that question of networking, how it's been important, doing business in the Channel Islands, being an innovator in the Channel Islands, like how's that been? Like, it ain't easy. I don't think entrepreneurship should be easy. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has to be. If it's not, then, you're probably not in it for the right reasons.
It'd be nice every now and then.
Yeah. So I want to talk about networking and how easy it is to network and to be an innovator. Yeah. And what more could we do maybe?
I think networking is important because yes, it's a lonely place, but also you kind of get validation that you're doing it right, even though I don't like the word validation. It's just that kind of safety numbers, you're all doing the same thing. And you never know. But I also think you never know when you're going to have that light bulb moment with people, or they're going to, tell you something about your product, or you're going to be able to help them or create a partnership. I go to so many conferences and seminars, and I guarantee that at every single one, there's at least one person who's the game changer or who can make something happen. So I think that's really important. I think Channel Islands, look, I think they are, well, I'm proud to be from the Channel Islands. I think it's great and always fly the flag in London. I think obviously in Guernsey, sometimes we have the issue of travel, the cost of it to get to London. But I think there's so much over here and so much talent, so much knowledge, so much expertise. And so for me, at times probably, look, I think what you're doing is fantastic and your support's been invaluable and incredible. But I do think sometimes in that community, it is hard to get in front of the community as well. I don't know if that's just, obviously there's also a difference between the Channel Islands as well, from Jersey to sort of Guernsey. But I think it's really where, in Guernsey, there's probably a lot more work to do on the connecting the sort of startup world to the sort of, capital in a way as well. I know they have the new SEIS, etc. And that's great, but you've got to know where to find these things to match them up. But I think it's a community where you can learn a lot. It's almost like a sandbox. And actually, I think a lot of the time people go, well, it doesn't, there's not that much. I know that you've got the pub down the road or restaurant, I know what they will do. And that's correct. But everyone travels, everyone goes away, everyone has a kid at university. These are all important things. So I think it's really, again, the good thing, again, I think about Guernsey is you can get, or Jersey, you can get amongst everyone quite quickly. There's always someone that knows someone and it is who you know, but also you can be in a lawyer, a banker, all these different offices within a day. So you have kind of got that ease, whereas in London, one meeting can take 3 hours, right? It's an hour there, an hour meeting and an hour back. So there's a lot of wasted time. So I think there's ways to go on some of it, but actually I think, it's a great place. I think, as I say, I've been blown away by some of the ideas actually that are happening over here that I do think need a platform to the wider world. And I think a bit like you've done with some of the London stuff, is it's just breaking down that sort of barrier as well, and sort of having that flow to.
There's a real potency to our little postage stamp of global real estate.
Definitely.
And, I think my observations are, across the crown dependencies, there's so much potency, there's so much expertise, there's so much will. Now it's about putting it in a vortex and funneling it so that connection, that solidarity, that help. I think the investment, piece is like, 1 in 10 in the folio. It's like, okay, can we use that potency to enable 3 out of 10? Put all these people around it, make that failure's not an option community. And I think it's happening, certainly. And then SEIS Guernsey, great evolution. Jersey's got the Impact Fund, which is happening. Isle of Man got that innovation challenge and loads happening up there. It's about weaving all of this together, I think, as well. But
I think so. I think it's working, like you said, working together as well. I think, I'm, as I say, blown away by some of the stuff you do have going on over here. And I think, I'm at some members clubs in London as well, where, there's nothing as exciting as some of the stuff going on over here. And I think it's just flying that flag and shouting about it and making a noise and doing all these things. But again, it's through your network, isn't it? You never know who's going to say something to someone somewhere or know someone somewhere. And it really is your sort of, that black book is a really important thing. So.
And then randomly, 24 hours ago, we realised we were both connected to Adorium, who is a big shout out to Adorium in London.
Yeah.
And Katie and Marcus and the team. So TEKEX has a really strong relationship with them. And then randomly you're...
Yeah, my first event is in a couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah.
So it's good.
I encourage everyone to look them up.
Go with Louis as well, see.
Back to Uniteverse.
I look after him, by the way. I'll bring him back in one piece.
I have said, I told you earlier, you never forget your first Adorium event, but you're likely to forget your first Adorium event.
I'll tell you stories.
Back to Uniteverse.
Yes.
We're going to play AI bingo, because it's going to be difficult to do a podcast without dropping the AI bomb.
Yeah.
But you're utilizing an AI framework with Uniteverse.
Yep.
We all know the incredible tidal wave of impact that it's happening, but both good and at times threatening, for sure. I think the biggest piece, possibly one might question when it comes to AI and Uniteverse, is around privacy. How are you going about balancing that innovation with risk? And for other founders out there, an AI tip.
Yep. So I was probably one of those people, being a bit of a technophobe originally a few years back, that AI was going to be that really bad thing. Like one day maybe it may be in the wrong hands. But actually right now for me, it's just a fantastic research assistant. It's like having the help of, even I will put off a presentation for days and days and days and then sit at the PC, drop it into there. Obviously I'll still, change the Z's for S's, but it is done in 15 minutes. So you put it off. So I just think it's a fantastic research tool, and that's what it should be used for. And that's where it's most valuable. So we anonymize everything, literally no personal data, no personal information, anonymize everything, and we separate everything out as well. So literally the email addresses from the other data and put two different places, mix it all up, but then keep the demographic stuff. So we're really conscious of data and privacy. So it's all anonymized, especially the field in which we're working in. So that was kind of the foremost to make sure all GDPR and all that sort of stuff is safe. But I think with AI, look, again, I'm not the techie, that's our CTO, but obviously know it all. But I think with AI, it is the thing that just speeds it all up, has allowed us to do what we've got to do. So I would definitely look at it. But I think it's important not to rely on it too much. That personal thing is still, for me, most valuable. I would never probably use AI to send my emails or do some of this other stuff. I think, it's one where look at it, use it, but just always know what's going on with it, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, good. I want to just talk about the energetic undulation of being an entrepreneur and a founder.
Yeah.
And
it's tiring.
Well, that's it. Okay, let's just pull on that
Yeah.
thread, because how do you push through self-doubt? Again, the privilege of TEKEX and in some instances mentoring, but meeting a lot of founders and hitting the trough can feel like the end of the world moment. And I get it, man. It's a brave soul to be an entrepreneur, but there's no magic silver bullet, right?
Yeah.
But the self-doubt bit, when you're there, what things do you do? And we can empower the audiences listening who are entering this world.
Probably hit a large bottle of good wine, but I think I think there's a couple of things. Obviously, I am older, left a good job to do this. Everyone probably thought I was mad, but I knew I had to do it. I think it's hearing all the stories and all the stuff I've learned over the last couple of years of experiences people having on a night out, all the different things. So knowing that we can really make a difference, and also seeing after we came out of the COVID what's gone on with hospitality and knowing that it needs support and it needs help. I think also just the team around me. We've got some fantastic people that actually I wouldn't be sat here today if it wasn't for them. And so, listening to their ideas, when you all do get together, this sort of, the possibilities are kind of endless. You've got to get the spades in the sand, so to speak. But I think it's knowing that now it is all, obviously, because I started it is all on me. So, you have to see this through. even though I'd quite happily go up and sit on a beach somewhere. But it's that one where I think you just need to persevere. I also think you get so busy, as you know, that you don't take the time just to, it's only when I talk about like this, you get excited again. You're always just so thick in it. But actually when you talk about it, you realize that you're doing something good. But yeah, I think it's just persevering. I mean, listen, I've always had to work really hard, probably have lots of energy, always positive. But yeah, there have been a few times over the last year where I'm like, what am I doing? Was this the right thing, not the right thing? But then I think it's just stopping, kind of having a word with yourself, and just remembering all the good things that people have said, all the feedback that, you know, and realizing that you've just got to do it now, and give it your best a shot, I think, like anything in life, really.
Good man. So look.
But I do need a holiday.
Let's go. Ibiza.
Right, so let's
make
book
a
it now.
business trip. You said earlier you're
yeah.
signing up somebody in Ibiza, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, look, touch wood.
Yeah. Actually, do you have a mentor? Do you go that route? Is there a specific mentor?
We've got a few advisors now, a great board of advisors,
right.
But no mentor as such. I've done a couple of sort of the accelerator startup sort of things that we've done. A hotbed, I think, was one of them. So there's some good stuff, but none in particular.
We're getting close to the conclusion. You're taking the stage in a few hours.
Yeah.
You're part of putting the
this
live
was a good
audience.
warm up, by the way.
Is it good?
Yeah. Just only two in the crowd is a bit of tea.
A bit easier, less intimidating.
Yeah.
Look, the company founders we put on stage, you know, they've always got, from my perspective, a compelling story. But there's also an ask of the evening, perhaps. Some are just talking about their war stories, perhaps, of exiting or VC experience or whatever. What's your ask? Like, do you need a CTO? Are you in a fundraise?
Yep.
Are you looking for people to open doors? Are you looking for collaborators? What's the Uniteverse post pitch tonight? What are you leaving the audience with?
Yeah, so we're looking to fundraise, actually. We've got a product which is ready to go. We've got some good traction already, sign up. So looking to fundraise to really push it to where we can and should be, I think, on both sides. But also looking for collaboration and partnerships. I think for me, it's all about collaboration and sort of you learn from that, but also they can open doors. Again, it's who you know, right? So I probably send 50 to 100 emails every day, which are cold calling. And actually, you send the same email to the same person every week, which I do sometimes. And then you'll bump into someone and they know them, they do the email, and then straight away you've got the attention. Right. It's that trust, it's that. So yeah, really fundraising is the main thing for us right now. I think that's kind of where, at that stage where with all the plans we have and the things we can do this year, it's sort of, you know, where we need to go. But actually collaboration. And again, we're open to it. Look, if someone comes along and says they'd like to be an advisor and they bring something to the table or they'd like to get involved, for me, let me know because open for it. For me, we've built a platform and a business, which I think is really exciting, special, needed, saves time, saves money. And we just want to get it to where it needs to be. So for me, it's not about me, it's about the team, it's about the vision and getting it there. So open to having discussions with anyone. But yeah, really money, give me your money. As I say, collaborations, partners, but also if there's partnerships or sort of advisors, yeah, open to that as well.
Good man.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Adrian.
That went quite quickly though.
Yeah.
Or it feels like it
pretty
did.
Much.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Cool.
I'm buzzing about TEKEX's first.
That was good.
Podcast.
It was nice to be part of it as well, actually.
Louis,
It goes down in history, look.
Did we cover everything? We missed something.
Absolutely.
Radu, how does this like 1 out of 10?
No,
2 out of 10 in your
podcast.
pod.
Look like you've done it for many times.
Yeah.
That's good. Look. You do, yeah.
Honestly,
Natural.
like,
Is it?
I thought he was going to say do it again then.
Re-record.
That was such a.
Oh.
It
There.
just flowed. It was so smooth, funny.
We're still. I don't think Louis realizes this might actually feature on the edit.
Yeah, that's
Seriously though, Adrian,
Yeah.
it's a pleasure hosting you.
Thank you, honestly. Thank you for everything.
And good luck tonight.
Yeah.
Good luck tonight.
Yeah.
No. You're going to be great. It's going to be good fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Get yourself a beer or a non-alcoholic beer, whatever.
I'll go non-alcoholic to begin with, Lick.
And that's a wrap.
Thank you.